Ever wake up, grab your phone, and the first thing you see is a breaking news alert? Or maybe you're scrolling through your social feed and a story catches your eye. You click, you read, you react. It feels instant, right? But have you ever stopped to think about the long journey that piece of information took to get to your screen? Who decided that story was important? Who wrote the headline that made you click? And maybe the biggest question of all, who are the unseen architects shaping what you see as the news? Today, we're pulling back the curtain. This isn't about conspiracy theories. It's about understanding the complex, fascinating, and sometimes messy system that delivers information to us every single day. Forget everything you think you know, because the answer to who controls the news is a lot more layered than you might imagine. Let's start with the most visible players, the journalists and the news organizations they work for. Think of the big names: the BBC, CNN, the New York Times, Reuters. These are global powerhouses with reporters stationed all over the world. A journalist on the ground is our first point of contact with an event. They're the ones interviewing sources, verifying facts, and trying to piece together what happened. Their job is to be our eyes and ears. But they don't work in a vacuum. Above them, you have editors. An editor's job is crucial. They decide which stories get prominence. Is a political development in Washington more important than a humanitarian crisis in Africa? Should the headline be bold and alarming, or more neutral and factual? These decisions, made in newsrooms every minute, have a huge impact on our perception of the world. What gets put on the front page or at the top of a website signals importance. What gets buried on page 17 or doesn't get covered at all can be just as significant. This is what we call gatekeeping. But who owns these news organizations? This is where it gets really interesting. Many of the world's largest media outlets are owned by massive corporations. For example, Comcast, a telecommunications giant, owns NBC News. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, owns the Washington Post. When a corporation owns a news outlet, questions naturally arise. Does the parent company's business interest ever influence news coverage? Most reputable organizations have strict ethical firewalls to prevent this, but the potential for conflict of interest is a constant debate. The business of news is, after all, a business. They need to sell subscriptions, attract advertisers, and turn a profit. This financial pressure can sometimes influence the type of content that gets produced. Sensational, emotional, or polarizing stories often get more clicks and shares, which means more ad revenue. It's a tricky balancing act between journalistic integrity and commercial viability. Now let's talk about a different kind of architect, the wire services. You might not have heard of them, but you've definitely read their work. Agencies like the Associated Press, AP, and Reuters are the wholesalers of news. They have a vast global network of journalists who produce a constant stream of reports, photos, and videos. Local and even national news outlets all over the world subscribe to these services. They might take a wire report and publish it as is, or use it as the starting point for their own story. This is incredibly efficient, but it also means that a single report from one agency can be seen by millions of people across hundreds of different publications, creating a surprisingly uniform version of events worldwide. But hold on, the landscape has completely changed in the last 20 years. A new, incredibly powerful architect has emerged: you and me, and the algorithms that connect us. Welcome to the age of social media. Today, many of us get our news not from a newspaper's homepage, but from our feeds on platforms like X, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. On these platforms, the old gatekeepers have less power. A story's prominence isn't decided by an editor in a New York newsroom, but by what you and your friends like, share, and comment on. The new gatekeepers are the algorithms. These complex systems are designed for one primary goal: to keep you engaged, to keep you scrolling. They learn what you like, what makes you angry, what makes you laugh, and they show you more of it. If you engage with stories that have a certain political slant, the algorithm will feed you more of the same. This can create what we call filter bubbles, or echo chambers, where we are only exposed to information that confirms our existing beliefs. It can feel good, like everyone agrees with you, but it can also shield us from different perspectives and make it harder to find common ground. So who are the unseen architects? It's not one single entity. It's a dynamic and powerful mix. It's the journalists on the ground, the editors in the newsroom, the corporate owners with their business interests, and the powerful wire services setting the global agenda. And now it's also the algorithms that curate our social feeds, and it's us, the users, whose clicks and shares teach those algorithms what to promote. Understanding this system isn't about becoming cynical and trusting nothing. It's about becoming a smarter, more critical consumer of information. It's about empowerment. The next time you read a headline, ask yourself a few questions. Who wrote this? Who owns the publication? Why am I seeing this now? Is this designed to inform me or to provoke an emotional reaction? By asking these questions, you move from being a passive consumer to an active participant. You take back a little bit of control. The architects may build the house, but we decide which rooms to enter and how to see them. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. If you found this interesting, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And for more content that makes you think, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. See you in the next one.